There is a growing dispute over a planned memorial for President Dwight D. Eisenhower. The Eisenhower family is now in an intense battle with famed architect Frank Gehry over the controversial design, and it's the topic of a House Oversight Committee hearing today on Capitol Hill. Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen live in Washington with an update. James.
John, good afternoon. This controversy is the result when a distinctly modern, or as the art critics would call it, post-structuralist kind of architectural daring, the hallmark, in fact, of world-renowned architect Frank Gehry, is brought to bear on a memorial honoring an altogether simple, even staid man, a model of propriety and a figure of singular achievement in war and peace, namely Dwight D. Eisenhower. For the last 4 years, Gehry and his team and the Eisenhower family have clashed over how best to honor Eisenhower's legacy as the conqueror of Nazi Germany, liberator of concentration camps, and our 34th president, a chief executive who presided over the end of the Korean War, the construction of the interstate highway system, the integration of public schools in Little Rock, and multiple crises in our Cold War against the Soviets. At present, the Gehry plan calls for a 4-acre space just off the National Mall to be punctuated by giant soaring columns and enormous metal screens or tapestries. There will also be a sculpture depicting Ike as a barefoot boy from Kansas, as he once described himself, looking up at monumental stone carvings that are themselves modeled on famous images of Eisenhower during D-Day and his years in the Oval Office. At today's hearing, Ike's granddaughter, Susan Eisenhower, said that many people have mentioned to her these towering metal scrims or tapestries. Well, let's let her say it for herself. All right, we will not be hearing from Susan Eisenhower. She went on to say that some people liken those metal screens to the Iron Curtain, of which, of course, was associated with the Soviet Union. Other people, she said, have told her, Holocaust survivors have mentioned, that the screens and the metal curtains are reminiscent of internment. And she went on in that vein. Retired Air Force Brigadier General Carl Riddell, the executive director of the Eisenhower Memorial Commission, defended the, quote, beauty and appropriateness of the Gehry design, and he estimated that starting from scratch, as some people are now recommending, would cost the taxpayers a total of $32 million. John and Jenna.
Isn't beauty always in the eye of the beholder?
Except when it's me. Then I decide.
James Rosen. Always so quick.